The situation in Minneapolis right now is a full-on bag of cats. I'm sure most of y'all are aware of the ongoing ICE protests, Renee Good, and all that. But one thing that we should all be paying attention to is the potential invocation of the Insurrection Act. This is something that President Trump has talked about here recently, and if he were to do it, it could have wide-ranging consequences not just locally in Minneapolis, but also all over the country. The Insurrection Act was passed all the way back in 1807, so it's been on the books for pretty much as long as we've been a country, and it gives the president the power to send in federal troops during times of civil disorder, insurrection, or full-on rebellion. And the way that this law is written is it's kind of broad and it's vague. It gives the president a lot of leeway as to when he actually invokes it. And a couple important notes. It does not require congressional approval, and it also does not require the approval of like a local state governor for the president to do this. So while a governor could ask the president to invoke it, they cannot tell them you cannot invoke it. But historically, it has been used pretty sparingly. Like it's only been invoked around 30 times over the past 200 years. It's mainly been done during times of major labor disputes, desegregation. The last time it was invoked, though, was over 30 years ago, back in 1992, during the LA riots after the Rodney King verdict. So it isn't really done a whole lot, even during situations like back in 2020, where there was widespread rioting and looting and arson going on in Minneapolis again, and also back in '05 during Hurricane Katrina. It was not invoked. There was talk about doing it, but it wasn't actually done. So it is considered to be a rather extreme step, at least when it comes to legal precedent. It's also important to understand that the invocation of the Insurrection Act is not the same thing as a declaration of martial law. Even under an Insurrection Act invocation, local courts would still continue to operate, they'd still have power, and local authorities would still have their positions and most of their normal responsibilities. Compare that to martial law, on the other hand, though, local authorities would not have any power. It would all be the military and the president. And martial law is actually very, very rare, historically speaking anyway. Martial law was last declared in 1963 in Cambridge, Maryland, during desegregation. And it was declared, multiple times throughout history in different areas, but it has never been done on a national scale. So the Insurrection Act, while you don't want to be somewhere that it has been invoked, it's not nearly as bad as a declaration of full-on martial law would be. Now, as far as what an invocation of the Insurrection Act would actually look like, they would obviously involve the federal government deploying troops to the affected area, in this case, Minneapolis. And right now, there are 1,500 troops that are on standby to do just that. They're part of the 11th Airborne Division, and they're out of Alaska. And what's interesting about these troops, I mean, you could probably tell this since they're from frickin' Alaska, is that they are trained to operate in very cold conditions. So it isn't like they would be sending a bunch of guys like me from Texas up there to freeze their butts off. These guys are conditioned for it, and they know what to do. And it could also involve the president federalizing the National Guard even over the governor's objections. And that probably would be the case because even though Tim Walz has put the National Guard on standby to help with various things, we all know that the federal government and state government in this situation are very much at odds with one another. Now, if the military is sent in, then its role is probably going to be pretty broad, and the first place that it's likely to involve itself is going to be with riot control and crowd dispersal. All of these crowds that you see gathered around ICE agents tracking their movements, all this different kind of stuff, it would probably become a thing of the past very quickly. Then they would be involved in other ways too. They would be doing active patrols on streets. They'd be manning checkpoints, enforcing curfews, and then also guarding sensitive areas like immigration facilities, government buildings, also infrastructure-related things like airports. And if curfews were in place, then they would be enforcing those and arresting anybody that violates them. While carrying out these roles, they'll probably rely on non-lethal means of defense first, but they will be carrying live ammunition as well. So there is a possibility for human loss of life if things spiral out of control. But regardless of whether or not that happens, just the mere invocation of the Insurrection Act would very likely make tensions between the state and local government and the federal government even worse than they already are. They've been at odds with each other throughout this entire situation, and anything like that would probably only make it worse. But beyond the political slap fighting, the invocation of the Insurrection Act would have real impacts on normal people, whether they're part of the protest or not. First, the ability for folks to move around freely would be greatly affected. There would be things like road closures and restricted areas that can make even doing simple daily tasks like getting to work or going to the grocery store a big challenge. Then aside from those, there would probably also be checkpoints into particular areas or to go from one area of town to another, like you might have to show identification and also have what the military considers to be a valid reason for going different places. Curfews would almost definitely happen, and anyone caught outside after a specific time would be arrested. Public transportation would probably be reduced, especially into and out of affected areas. You might also see businesses close because folks are either trying to protect their property or they're just shutting down because their business is in an affected area. Then emergency services would probably be strained and wouldn't be able to respond as quickly as they normally would. So if you're injured in a wreck or have somebody breaking into your home, you're probably going to be on your own longer than normal. It's also important to note that the folks that would be sent in are soldiers, not cops. They wouldn't operate the same way and they wouldn't be bound by the same constraints. So while you may be able to get by with mouthing at a sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop, doing that to a soldier at a checkpoint probably wouldn't be the best idea, and it would end very differently for you. The bottom line is that living in an area where the Insurrection Act has been invoked would be incredibly stressful and a huge adjustment for most normal folks. And how people respond to it would be very strong. Minnesota's leadership, who are mostly Democrats, would definitely oppose it. They've already made that very clear. Some citizens would applaud it, while others would see it as a major infringement on civil liberties, and this would likely spark protests in other cities. We've already seen that happen with the Renee Good situation over the past couple of weeks. But even with all this going on, there are ways to prepare for it. First, we should all do what we can to stay aware of what's going on around us. Paying attention to your local news can be helpful, but don't let that be your only source of information. Also keep an eye on local social media groups. We have a few where I live that people use to post information about car accidents, local crimes, and other things like protests in our area. Also be sure to have a battery-operated radio so you still have a way to get at least some information even if utilities go down. Then do whatever you can to avoid trouble areas. Like those tend to include downtown areas, places where the military or law enforcement are conducting operations, or anywhere that's experienced a high-profile incident recently. Know of alternate routes that you can take to avoid those areas, because really there's no sense in going into a bad situation if you can avoid it. Then if you do end up in a bad spot, having things like water in your car and a gas mask with filters could save you a lot of misery, because it's important to remember that you don't have to be the target of something like tear gas or pepper spray to be affected by it. And if you do have to move around, don't do anything to draw attention to yourself. That includes from protesters and the military or law enforcement. It's one of those situations where being the gray man is definitely preferable. But while I know that most of us have to go to work, during these types of situations, it's best to stay home as much as possible. If there's looting or large-scale arrests happening, you don't want to be wandering around trying to get groceries or anything like that. So do what you can to ensure that you don't have to leave your home to go get supplies. Stockpile plenty of food, water, and medication now, and if you can, also have a couple of spare gas cans on hand just in case it gets harder to find fuel. After that, be sure that you have a family communications plan set up. Know what to do if cell phone services go offline, and have a battery bank that you can use to charge your phone if your battery dies. You should plan ahead of time for things like who will pick up the kids from school and where you and your loved ones will go if you can't get to your home safely. But if you can leave the area, like maybe you're retired and have relatives in a different part of the state, that may be something that's worth considering, at least until this situation blows over. And finally, take steps to harden your home against rioters and looting. Do things like installing extended strike plates and replacing the tiny screws holding your door hardware in place with longer 3.5-inch deck screws. Now, I did a video a few weeks ago on my other channel that showed how to protect your home during periods of widespread civil unrest. So if you want to check that out, then be sure to click here. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all have a good one.